if Ukraine's recent drone strike on Putin's residence had actually succeeded? Days ago, Ukrainian drones targeted the Kremlin, but what if one hit its mark? Ukraine celebrates a stunning victory, but here's where that victory becomes humanity's worst nightmare. Within hours, Russia's military activates dead hand protocols. Hardliners seize control, demanding immediate retaliation. Massive missile barrages rain down on every major Ukrainian city. The strikes don't stop at Ukraine. Poland and the Baltics are hit next, accused of supporting the assassination. Russia claims NATO attacked their sovereignty. Article 5 is triggered. Europe mobilizes 2 million troops as Russian forces push westward. Germany, France, and the UK respond. Fighter jets clash over Polish skies as the conflict spreads. Then comes the real danger. Tactical nukes are deployed on the battlefield. Radiation clouds drift toward European cities. And here's what this means for America. 100,000 U.S. troops in Europe now face direct combat with Russian forces. Russia threatens strikes on U.S. soil if NATO doesn't back down. American cities go on high alert. The global economy collapses. Gas prices hit $15 a gallon. Supply chains shut down. So Ukraine wins one battle, but the world loses everything. This isn't victory, it's the spark that burns down civilization.
Here's a reminder that this small piece of land is what Ukraine refuses to give up for a peace deal. Not the capital, not half the country, just this limited territory, which Russia is expected to fully control within the coming months. Budzinski instead proposes a complete Russian withdrawal, but many analysts say this is not realistic. The blue line on the map represents what Russia is demanding. The red circles show areas Russia is willing to withdraw from and return to Ukraine as part of a compromise. Russia has already accepted this proposal. Ukraine, however, has not. President Volodymyr Zelensky has so far refused to agree. If accepted now, the deal would bring an immediate ceasefire, allowing talks on NATO and European Union membership to continue without more people dying on the battlefield. Instead, Russian forces continue advancing, slowly moving toward the blue line that would activate the ceasefire. In reality, two agreements are required for a final peace settlement. First is the land issue, which could stop the fighting immediately. Second is NATO and EU membership, to be discussed later. The United States supports Ukraine diplomatically and militarily, urging negotiations while continuing financial, political, and defense assistance to Kyiv.
Russia just captured 4,000 square kilometers of Ukraine in 2024. But here's why Putin is actually losing. You see, those gains cost Moscow over 430,000 casualties. That's 1,570 soldiers lost every single day in December alone. And on December 19th, they hit a record 2,200 casualties in just 24 hours. Meanwhile, Ukraine's playing a completely different game. Their drone production exploded from basically nothing in 2022 to over 1.5 million FPV drones in 2024. Here's the insane part. Russia lost 3,689 tanks in 2024, and experts say Moscow could run out of tanks by 2026 because they're burning through Soviet-era stockpiles faster than they can replace them. Ukraine's using $400 drones to destroy million-dollar Russian tanks. It's asymmetric warfare on steroids. Russia gains land, but bleeds resources. Ukraine loses ground, but preserves forces. And every mile Russia advances stretches their supply lines thinner, making them easier targets for those cheap FPV drones. So yes, Russia controls about 20% of Ukraine, but they're paying for every meter with blood and steel. They can't afford to lose.
Trump and Netanyahu are once again preparing for a possible strike on Iran, but experts are warning this could be a huge mistake, even for the United States. Israel now admits it needs more time. Iran is fully prepared. Tehran believes the protests inside the country are being used as cover for regime change. That's why Iran issued a clear warning. If it is attacked, it won't just hit Israel. U.S. bases across the Middle East will be hit too. The biggest problem, right now, the United States has no aircraft carrier in the region. Without carriers, a full-scale war is extremely hard to launch. At the same time, U.S. and Israeli missile interceptors are already low after recent fighting. Without strong air defense, American troops become easy targets. Iran still has thousands of short-range missiles ready. Those missiles are the biggest threat to U.S. forces. Last time, Donald Trump said, "Mission accomplished." In reality, Israel absorbed most of the retaliation. This time is different. If U.S. soldiers are hit, Trump's election chances collapse overnight. And Iran still hasn't used its strongest weapon, Strait of Hormuz. If Iran closes it, oil could hit $200 a barrel, crashing the global economy. Iran is not Venezuela. It has millions of ideologically committed fighters. So the real question is simple. Does Trump strike, or does he know the cost is too high?
Trump just announced he's pausing military action against Iran, saying they stopped executing protesters. But here's the twist. Massive U.S. military aircraft are flying to the Middle East right now, carrying equipment and troops. The Lincoln Carrier Strike Group already turned around from the South China Sea, heading straight for the region. The Bush carrier left Norfolk on January 13th, and unconfirmed reports suggest it might be heading there too. If both carriers meet up, that's the strongest firepower America's had in that area in years. And get this, Britain and Germany just told their airlines to avoid Iranian airspace. That's a classic pre-war signal. So Trump says one thing on Wednesday, threatens Iran over protesters. Then Thursday, he suddenly thanks them for stopping. But U.S. intelligence hadn't even confirmed that yet. Many Iranians think Trump's thank you post was deliberate misdirection, buying time for a surprise attack. Former U.S. military officials say striking Iran requires massive preparation. Deploy forces, launch attacks, then maintain long-term presence. And right now, every sign points to exactly that. This isn't a pause. This is the calm before the storm.